r/AskReddit asks. Are you afraid of coronavirus? Why? Why not? Not afraid, but also don't want it. Concerned and have respect for it, but not worried. Nah, it evolves symptoms too early. This guide is Plage Incorporated. Not really. Concerned about my elderly relatives if it truly does spread, but I live in such a remote area that it really doesn't matter. No. I'm afraid of the people saying Asian people are dirty because of it. Remind those people that the unstoppable H1N1 pandemic that started in 2009, failed to be contained, and kills tens of thousands of people every year started in the USA. I'm more worried about the crackhead on the train at 3 in the morning that was running up and down a car pissing everywhere. Moderately to highly. Although in non-endangered demographics it is rarely fatal, it's still a nasty disease to contract and extremely infectious. Also, we are always in risk that it'll further mutate into a deadlier state with higher mortality rate, while retaining its infectivity, and then the death toll will rise exponentially. In addition, even though I am not in an endangered demographic, it still puts at risk people I care about, mainly elderly family. And even if you contract it and don't die, you still have to spend a long period of time in quarantine and be treated like a leper. No. Mainly kills old people and people not near me. For now, smirking face. I'm scared of everything no matter how irrational. No. If I let myself be scared of the thousands of things more likely to kill me, I'd never leave the bed. Shit happens, a slightly more dangerous flu should not be concerning. I'm not scared of it, but I have a healthy respect for it. It's highly contagious and there are a lot of people that can spread it without showing symptoms. The incubation period is far longer than anyone realized until it was too late. Also, if you get it and survive, you can actually get reinfected and have a higher chance of dying then. The U.S. has currently designated 14 military installations as quarantine centers and 1 FEMA camp so far. Not scared, but being a realist on this one. I was not scared of Ebola or the swine flu, but this one is giving me bad vibes. This is highly contagious, has a reasonably high death toll, and even if it doesn't kill, it is serious enough for enough of the infected that widespread infection will put a serious strain on resources and cause an economic impact. I think the fact that the media is underplaying this when it was screaming bloody murder about the other 2 illnesses I mentioned that makes me the most worried. More afraid of Miller virus. The champagne of viruses. How will fear help? I hope their biomedics/virus researches/biotech whatever get a good sleep and use the energy to find a cure or a way to restrict spreading of the virus. How can I help? Do my own job well in return. I live in Italy. They underestimated it so much that now we are in a really bad situation. In most North Italy everything is paralyzed and some supermarkets ran out of stock. I am more afraid of starving to death or dehydration, but one thing is sure, if I ever get coronavirus I will sneeze in the face of all our politicians. I always keep my promises. No. The flu is much more common and deadly. Death rates per 100,000 in the USA for flu is 14 people. So far for coronavirus death rate is 2,000 to 4,000 per 100,000. Or between 1 in 50 and 1 in 25 dead. Also seems to be much more contagious than the flu and has a 2-week incubation period. You might be underestimating the effects. Not saying people should be afraid, but a lot of the comments here seems very uninformed. As someone living in Asia, it's a much bigger issue and concern than what you think it is. It's not just a flu. It's killing a lot more people than statistics show. People here are acting like it's nothing and it's just overreaction. Did you see how fast it spread in South Korea in just a few days? I'm personally not afraid, but people are concerned and taking lots of precautionary measures. Not really. I've read enough fiction to be pretty fatalistic about it. If it's truly a pandemic, then I have absolutely no control of whether I get it or not, or if I will be one of the victims. I'm grateful for the efforts of our first world resources, but ultimately the ability of cities to respond around the world is too disparate to put a stop to it globally. No. Once every few years these terrible epidemics appear, H1N1, bird fever, pig fever, etc., and it always blows over and ends up being nothing. I feel sorry for those who were affected by it, but in the end coronavirus will be more of the same. I don't think it always blows over and ends up being nothing isn't the best way to look at the situation. Maybe in terms of your personal experience that is true and your justification for not being afraid is valid in those terms. But you're fortunate to not live in the area where the disease first struck. There are many people in Wuhan who will survive with no symptoms and they will never be able to think of it in those terms. Not necessarily afraid but fascinated. The apparently longer than expected incubation time allowed for the recent global spread to Italy, for example. Carrying the virus for more than 2 weeks and not show symptoms is the worrying part, which makes it quite unique and has authorities on high alert. Also, that it can survive on surfaces for up to 9 days is bad. Good personal hygiene does help, but people are idiots, so this will be on the news for quite some time. I'm afraid of it cause I live in Switzerland 3 hours from Italy, and my problem is that we don't know the exact death percentage because this started in China and they didn't have hospitals and no way they could count them all. I get a little worried every time there's a headline about it spreading to a new place. But I live in the US, and historically we've done pretty well at containing the disease of the year. I just keep telling myself this is another bird flu/mad cow disease/swine flu/Ebola/Zika. I think I'll be okay. Also, I heard some company in Houston thinks they've developed a vaccine. Still too early to be sure, but reading that gave me comfort. Not really. I'm not the healthiest person, but I don't fear a type of illness like the coronavirus. No matter what happens, pandemic or not, freaking out about the situation before you're even close to in danger doesn't help the situation at all. I have a finite amount of energy to worry about things, and until there are sick people dying right outside my door, I'm going to use that energy worrying about rent more than if I'm going to die from a disease that kills a smaller percentage of people than SARS. Nope. So far its death toll has yet to outdo more common viruses like normal flu, and the only reason it's spread so far is because of its origin in a location with high people density and lax approaches to quarantine. We've faced down far deadlier plagues and much more primitive conditions before. This is nothing to be scared of.